Hey guys, how's it going? I hope you're all doing really well as always, and welcome to the channel. Today we're going to be doing a shootout and a comparison of two of my guitars. That's the BC Rich Matt Tuck signature guitar and the Jackson Matt Tuck signature guitar. A lot of you guys have asked me which guitar's better, which one do I prefer, you know, which one should you buy if you come across them. So hopefully this video answers those questions for you guys. In a lot of ways these guitars can be quite similar, but in a lot of ways they're actually not. So I'm going to do a little bit of a spec rundown for you guys. I'm going to play them for you and hopefully you guys can make your own minds up after all that on what you prefer. So we'll start off by taking a quick look at the Jackson here. So this is Matt's first signature guitar that Jackson built for him back in the day when he was endorsed by him. This guitar kind of screams the iconic Bullet era that a lot of true diehard Bullet fans are into. They see this guitar, they know exactly what it is, and yeah, it's kind of like a fan favorite. This is actually one of my oldest guitars. I've had this since I must have been about 16, 17 when I got this thing. I don't play it all that often because it's a preference thing now, but as I've aged, like, you know, I prefer certain things now. But the thing's still great, so let's have a look at the specs. So as a bit of an overview for you guys, this guitar has an older body, ebony fretboard. It's neck through construction, and it's got a really slim neck that you would expect to find on a Jackson guitar, right? It's 22 frets, 25.5 scale length. It's got Spursel tuners, which are great, makes things really easy when it comes to quick restringing. It's got the classic EMG 81, 85 pickup configuration that Matt still rolls with to this day, I think. It's got no volute on the back of the headstock, which I think is absolutely ridiculous. When I pick it up, it just feels like it can't take much of a beating, so you know, as much of a stage guitar as this is, I wouldn't say it's like the most roadworthy guitar because it is quite delicate. The guitar comes in at around 2.5 kilograms and it's got a really nice little battery compartment on the back, which makes switching the battery out nice and easy. If you're used to the Rhoads shape and flying V's, it is actually a very playable guitar. The neck is very wide. You can get plenty of access to the higher frets if that's your sort of thing. What I would say about this guitar is I don't think personally it's the best sounding guitar. This is a stage guitar. To my knowledge, Bullet have always used like Les Pauls, that sort of thing for like tracking guitars, like very big meaty guitars. This thing is quite lightweight in my opinion, so you know, it wouldn't make it into a studio environment for me personally. But yeah, to me it does kind of feel a little bit flimsy at this point, a little bit lightweight, and the ends, the paint is quite thin, so it's super easy to knock these things around and get like bashes and dings on them. The Jackson also comes with this really nice slimline case, so you know, the problem is with hard cases is they can be quite cumbersome, but this thing, it sort of fits the outline of the guitar, kind of like your typical Jackson case that they do for most guitars, extreme shapes. So now we'll take a quick look at how it balances on the strap, see if it's got any neck dive. For a Rhoads, this thing is perfectly balanced. Whether that's anything to do with the inverted headstock or not, I'm not too sure, but I've never had a problem with putting this guitar on and having it constantly dive on me. So now we'll do a quick overview of the BC Rich. This thing came in two colors. You've got the purple one with a quilted maple top, and then you've got the ever elusive silver sparkle one where there was only a limited run of those made, I think. And if you can get your hands on one of those now, you just jump on it, you know, because they're super, super rare. So Matt moved over to BC Rich kind of around the 2011 era, I want to say, sort of the Axe Wound, Temper Temper sort of era. He was playing some BC Rich guitars on the back end of the Fever tour, but those weren't signature guitars. There were a couple of customs made for him while this thing was being finalized. This guitar kind of feels like more of everything and just a logical step up in quality compared to the Jackson after, you know, he played those for so many years. I guess when he moved over to BC Rich, he wanted something a little bit more substantial, something that was a little bit more roadworthy and something that wasn't going to, you know, get easily bashed up. And overall, what I think is something that sounded a lot better, and that certainly shows in the specs. The BC Rich has actually got a mahogany body coming away from the older thing on the Jackson, which makes me think again, you know, the Jackson, it may have looked the part on stage and stuff like that, but I highly doubt they were using that as a tracking guitar because, like I said, they like, you know, for metal records, people like to use like EMG loaded mahogany body guitars like Les Pauls and stuff. If you watch Bullet in the studio, Matt is usually tracking with a Les Paul, and it's almost like he wanted to try and get a Les Paul vibe into this guitar. So not only did he want it to look good on stage, but he also wanted it to sound good as well. And there's been little pictures in the past of him actually using this guitar in the studio, so I think he wanted to go for sound and build quality. It's got a lot of similar specs to the Jackson. It's got an ebony fretboard. It's a neck through construction again, so it's super solid. But this time the neck is super thick. You can see, you know, the Jackson has quite a slinky skinny neck. Whereas this thing, the neck almost feels like a Les Paul a little bit, or something you'd expect on a Gibson, but it's a lot wider, I guess, than a Gibson, I think. This guitar's got Grover tuners, which I've never had an issue with, holds tune really well. So you've got EMG 8185s as far as the pickups go, standard. The guitar is much bigger. It's much more substantial. It weighs around 3.4 kilograms, which is a massive step up in weight, I guess. It is a noticeable difference if you've been playing the Jackson and then you put this guitar on it. It does weigh quite a bit, but again, that's something that I really like. I like a big guitar. I like something that weighs quite a bit. The guitar's got super thick paint, which is great because I've knocked this thing a couple of times by accident on the wings. Usually when you see Flying Vs, especially ones that have been around for a while, because this is 2013 now, right? You see bats and dings on the edges, even on the Jackson, you can see a little bit where it's had very small knocks in the past. Build quality in the paint is just so thick. Even where it has worn down a little bit, you can barely see. I'll do the strap test for you guys now. Like I said, this guitar does weigh a lot more, but you know, it sort of leans to the left a little bit more than the Jackson, but again, just moving around with it, it doesn't feel like it wants to plummet to the floor. Depending on where you get the guitar from, if you can find one now. Sometimes they come with a hard case, sometimes they don't. First one of these guitars I got did not come with a hard case, but the second one did. And it is this absolutely ridiculous thing right here. It is huge, it is clunky, it is oversized. Is it protective? Yes, I guess so, but I think it's completely unnecessary. I know the guitar is big, but I think all guitar companies should be doing what Jackson do, which is make those lovely sort of slimline cases which fit the guitar a bit more. Okay, moving over into the tone test now. We'll start on clean tones and then we'll move over into heavies. I'll do the Jackson first, then the BC Rich, and then every other, just so you can hear them side by side. So I'll move over into the heavy guitar sounds now, starting with the Jackson. Okay, there you go, guys. That's the tone comparisons for both cleans and heavies. Hopefully this video has given you guys a little bit of insight as to what these guitars are all about. Personally, the BC Rich is and always will be my favorite. You know, that's why I have two of them now, because they're just like workhorses for me. They just work. When I put them on, they just feel right. They play right. But as far as the Jackson goes, it's a very nostalgic guitar for me. Did a heck of a lot of learning on that guitar when I was sort of like honing my craft, you know, so I don't want to sort of write that guitar off. It's still got a very special place in my heart. I just prefer the feel and sound of the BC Rich overall. So there you go, guys. That's the video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something. I also hope you guys have a great Christmas time and festive period, whatever it is that you're doing for that. I also want to say a huge thank you to everybody who supported me this year, whether it's subscribing, watching my stuff, leaving comments and stuff. It means the absolute world. But if I don't see you guys before, I will see you guys in the next one, which will probably be 2024 now. So have a great festive period, and I'll see you guys next year. Take care, guys. Peace.